Welcome to Astro Podcast. This is a weekly astrology report, and I am Jody Shirami. Welcome to my podcast. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you. I hope you had a nice week. It was a volatile week. The weather has been out of control, and it is what is predicted with all the weather being warm everywhere. Global warming is here. And we are seeing the effects of all of that happening right now. This week we saw the full moon in Sagittarius happening today. I filmed this on Thursday, and today is the 23rd. So the full moon's happening tonight in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the opposite of the sun in Gemini, and that's when we get a full moon. The sun is shining its light on the moon. So welcome to this weekly astrology report that goes from this Friday to next Friday, which will be the 31st of May. We are ending out the month of May, where there has been so much activity that it has flown by, literally. May has basically propelled us into the future without us even knowing, because it happened so quickly. So it's a good time right now, before we start going with what's happening this week. It's a good time right now to meditate, to really breathe deeply, and hold it into your belly and release it all out. It's really a good time to do my 10-second meditation, breathing, 3 seconds in. Hold it for 3 seconds and let it out. And if you have just 10 seconds to do that 10 times or 6 times, it's great. Just do 1 minute of meditation. This is really the time that, with all the extra movement happening that we are not really used to for a while now, especially with Mercury being basically asleep for a month in Aries and just moving into Taurus, where it's now kind of relaxing, but it's not very comfortable in Taurus, again, because it's more of a speed even than wanting to sit there and chew on the grass right now. And trying to do this past couple weeks is have time to myself, where I'm just sitting there and really trying to understand all the messages coming in from the universe and what's happening out in the real world to the collective, because it's so much energy that a lot of it is very predictable. Certain things happening that are very predictable, and there's many triggers that happens when certain vibes and energy come off of the planets. And the solar flares really irritated a bunch of people. And the full moon today, on this Thursday, the 24th, the 23rd, is also irritating a lot of people, especially with this mutable energy. And fixed signs really can't handle mutable energy unless they have a mutable planet in their personal houses, which would be your sun, your moon, your Mercury, your Venus, and your Mars. These are all personal planets that are unique to you and people born around certain times with you. Like right now, we have Mercury in Taurus, and it's there with Jupiter and Uranus. So someone born now would have all those planets in that sign. So this is how astrology works: personal astrology, collective astrology, evolutionary astrology. There's all different types of astrology. So right now, with the way things are, with this full moon, I talked about it last week, how Pluto's coming in to help ease some of that tension by having a nice little phone call to the sun and the moon, and helping them prepare for change. So today on the 24th, Venus just went into Gemini on Thursday. So with this full moon, that's happening. Venus also enters Gemini while the full moon is occurring. And when that happens, Venus is also having a meeting with Pluto as it moves into Gemini. So here we go. I know I'm saying that a lot, but really, here we go. What does that mean? Venus in Gemini. And then tomorrow, Jupiter heads into Gemini and is also going to have a little sextile to Pluto. Gemini sextiles Pluto. It has a nice friendly relationship with Aquarius. So everything that comes into Gemini now, leaving Taurus, is going to have a nice little meeting with Pluto after it has gone through Taurus energy. When we know Taurus energy, we're very familiar with that. We're just getting out of that now. Taurus energy, again, is fixed. Gemini is the first mutable sign of the houses of the zodiac, as we've now gone through the cardinal sign, the fire cardinal sign of Aries, and then the number 2 house, the fixed sign of Earth, which was Taurus. Now we're in the mutable air sign of Gemini. The next step of evolution is having community, getting to know people within your neighborhood, short little trips, conversation that is probing, curious, also very diverse. Because Gemini here likes to talk with people, is very curious, and is very, very mutable communicator, meaning that it can go back and forth. It can understand all kinds of points of view. So sometimes Geminis get a bad rep for being duplicitous, being two-faced. That's the downside right now of the sun in Gemini with Jupiter coming in, because Jupiter is the ruler of this full moon, which is in Sagittarius. And Jupiter is also the message for the collective this week is what it's been these past weeks. Conjuncting the North Node in Aries, we really felt a lot of pressure to evolve. And now Mars is getting ready to meet up with Chiron. And Chiron is the healer as Mars heads out of Aries and heads into Taurus soon. It's going to be next Wednesday. Mars will conjunct Chiron as it heads out of Aries into Taurus. And again, Chiron is the wounded healer who wants to help you learn to love yourself and forgive yourself for everything that you think you did wrong. Because again, you're only human. Otherwise, you would have stayed in heaven and had everything perfect for you, right? Or get angry and go down to hell and revolt. But you're not. You're human. You're in that in between, right? And so you're going to make mistakes. That's why you're here. You want to feel what it's like to be human. There's a new show on Apple TV called Sugar. And everything Colin Farrell's in, I always watch, because everything he does is mystical, out of body, out of the realm of possibility. And after you watch the show, you realize something's going on, but you can't quite figure it out until the very last episode they reveal to you what he is. And this is what Chiron and Mars feels to me like, is think about if you're first time on Earth and you don't know anything about feelings or passion or love. Because think about it, love is in the ether. You can't see it. Passion is in the ether. You can't see it. Happiness is in the ether. Your emotions are all in the ether and they come to you suddenly. You'll feel something and then you'll express it. So this is what being a human is, and that's what Sugar, the TV show that just ended its first season on Apple TV, is. And I would highly suggest that, just to grasp and appreciate being a human and really loving yourself and knowing that you're here to learn and to do things differently than maybe what you saw happen while you were growing up, like during this time. The collective wants to do things differently than what the conservatives want to keep going, right? And so we want to change that, and we're going to try. And that is what every generation is about, is being better than the last generation. Not necessarily better like I'm better than you, more like the quality of life gets better, increases, is better for your children, so they don't have to struggle in the same ways. And so when they don't struggle in the same ways, you're going to have to figure out other ways to teach that lesson of struggle that you had. So this is where the new thoughts come in from Jupiter coming to Gemini and meeting up with Pluto and going through Uranus and meeting up with Jupiter. This is what this is about, is to help us slowly ease like a baby, rocking a baby, putting it to nap, helping it to ease its way into a higher consciousness. And that's where we're at right now. We're trying to get to a higher consciousness so that we can be more aware of our true selves and who we really are. Because really, we're not much different than animals and plants. We're made up of water. We need the same thing. We need sunlight. We need water. We need love. We need care. We need fertilizer. We're basically the same thing. We're an organism. Like I found out that a banana is a grass. It's not a plant. It's a grass. Think about a banana being a grass and how it's evolved to sustain us. Sustains many cultures. And it's a great plant to have in your yard. It's from cafeastrology.com. And this is the chart of the full moon occurring on the 23rd, which was Thursday, yesterday, and I'm recording this today on Friday. I wanted to show you how really difficult it is to understand astrology until you learn how to look at one of these things. So I wanted to show you, here is the full moon that occurred on Thursday. And here is the moon, and here is the sun at 2 degrees and 55 minutes. And it's going to have a beautiful sextile, which is a nice kind of easygoing conversation with Pluto, which I talked about a lot last week. And you can see the green lines here. They're called trines, Trine. And this is a smaller trine. And Pluto is here helping ease the tension of this full moon, because full moons cause a lot of tension because it's the opposite thing happening. And this is also mutable, and in mutable signs they can accept change a lot quicker, a lot easier. And again, Gemini is the third sign of the personal planets, because we've already gone through Mars and Aries, and then Venus and Taurus. So Mars and Venus are our inner motivation for what we want to do, because it's a personal planet. And then Pluto is an outer planet that rules over Scorpio, and it is about the collective. So when the collective planet of Pluto here meets up with these personal planets, we are going to get some personal planet time that's going to be difficult to understand unless we understand ourselves. And Pluto doesn't mess around. Pluto is easing the tension, but still making sure that what is supposed to be accomplished happens. That's Pluto's job. And the other aspect that's happening on Saturday is, here we go with Jupiter right here, 29 degrees and 26 minutes, heading into Gemini. So it's heading down here to Gemini. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo, right? And Gemini is where the sun is. So Jupiter and the sun are going to be in Gemini, which is a huge boost for communication, expanding our mind. Jupiter expands everything bigger. And also Gemini rules communication, people around our house, our neighborhood, our family, people we talk to. And it's not a long distance thing. It's a town thing. It's like people around you, like your high school. That would be your Gemini type of friends that are right here in the moment. Whereas Jupiter is about the bigger picture, about the world. It rules over the collective and what the collective is feeling right now. So Jupiter in Gemini is going to help us all get out there and be more social. Talk, 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 talk. And so that's what I've been doing, lots of talking, and I realized that it has gotten completely busy. This month went by so quickly, I spoke about earlier. And it's going to keep moving quicker now with Jupiter there. So this is a good time to meditate and really think about what you want and find time to slow yourself down, because we don't need to be rushing around. And that's what Pluto is here to say. Pluto is giving you permission right here to say, hey, slow down, slow down. We want all these things to happen, but Pluto's on a 20-year cycle through Aquarius. It's going to take it 20 years to get through here. 20 years through here. Right here. And pretty soon it's going to retrograde and go back into here again for a while to finish up its work in Capricorn, which you've all been feeling for the past 18 years. I am not in the same spot I was when Capricorn came, and when Pluto hit Capricorn. I had another baby come along, and now we've moved, and now we're going to move again, and we moved again. All this was going on while Pluto was in Capricorn. And now Pluto is in the opposite side of me, which is Leo here. Woo! So a lot of partnerships are changing for me. And a lot of new things are coming on board that are permanently changing for me. I'm not talking to some of my friends that are back here. I'm moving forward this way. And whoever comes along, great. If not, I'm a Leo. And Leos have their families and their friends forever for life. So if you're in that category with a Leo, nothing can change that. But right now, with all this fluxing and changing, certain people are not going to be coming along because our time is no longer the same. We don't have the same interests, and that's part of growing up. And that's why they say if you can count your friends on one hand when you're getting ready to pass away, you're lucky that you have any on that hand, besides outside your family, obviously. It has to be outside your family. And sometimes if your family makes friends with you, that's really lucky, because that doesn't happen very often. So what else is going on here? As you can see, Mercury right here is also going to be moving in. It's at 11 degrees and 0 minutes right now. And when it starts to move, it's also going to meet up with Uranus right here. And then it'll meet up with Jupiter, who's going to be in Gemini. And Venus also is in Gemini, heading in there almost the exact same day as Jupiter and the Sun, I believe. With Jupiter, I don't know why I keep losing track of where Venus is, because she's just been moving much quicker through Taurus than I expected. Don't quote me on that. I'll write something about it in the notes to clarify exactly the days. And then the other thing we're looking at is Mars. Mars is getting ready to run into Chiron before it leaves Mars, its home sign. So Mars right here is jacked up. It is so excited. After meeting up with the North Node, it's got its ego intact and knows what it needs to do, and it's heading this way soon. And when it gets into Taurus, it will slow down a little bit, but I fear that that's when there'll be more earthquakes. As it's getting to hurricane season, I fear when Mars shifts into Taurus, the home of the bull, where everything is fixed, I fear that when Mars moves in there, there's going to become more war in the world, which is already happening, but more. And I believe there's going to be more earthquakes. And because Neptune is at the very last degrees of Pisces, I believe that there's going to be more floods. Hurricane season would be crazy, because the way that Mars and Neptune meet here, they're going to be in a square when it gets to Taurus. And so while Mars is having a square to Neptune up here, I think there's going to be a lot of earthquakes, more tornadoes, more hurricanes. Hurricanes this year have already been named 15 of them, which is a ton. And again, if you remember us talking about when the eclipse came across America, came from Texas and went all the way up towards Maine. And if you notice those areas that are in that V shape of the last eclipse that went through, I believe in 2017, it came down from Washington State through
Texas. And this recent eclipse in April went from Texas up towards Maine, and then it makes a little V shape in the middle of America. And it seems to be that the V-shaped areas are getting hit the hardest with rain, winds that are absolutely crazy winds, and all kinds of things, because that is the breadbasket of America, they call it. So there's been a lot of agriculture that has been ruining the earth, which caused the Dust Bowl a long time ago, and they supposedly fixed it, but I don't believe they have. So a lot of those storms have to do with global warming and the fact that the earth is in not balance right now, and the earth is drying up. Certain places haven't seen rain. There's already a forest fire. There's already a forest fire happening now, I believe in Wisconsin. So all these things are getting ready to happen pretty soon. When Pluto heads back into Capricorn right here, it's going to really shake us up again, because it'll be the last time Pluto's in Capricorn in over 200 years when it comes back again. So these times are unreal. We're witnessing things that have never happened before in our lifetime, and the babies that are born now will be born the same way I was born, which is 29 degrees, 29 degrees, 29 degrees. So they will be able to help the world out when the time comes for the next change, which will be in probably 20 to 40 more years as Pluto continues to move through Aquarius, and then 20 years later we'll be moving into Pisces. So when Pluto moves into Pisces, then we'll know that the Pisces season will be done, and we will be initiating into the Aquarius age when it gets into Mars. So that's that's about 20 to 40 years happening. These children born now will be 20 or 40 years, and I'm 56, and being 56, this is when all this is happening for me. Although these things have been happening for a while, especially with Pluto here at 29 degrees of Capricorn for a long, long time. So a lot of things have changed in my life, as I spoke of, and so things are going to change for your life whether you like it or not. And my suggestion is to meditate, take deep breaths, because that's what I've done, that's what I've been taught. And I'm very grateful to my mother for taking me to the Buddhist temples. When we first went back to Thailand when I was we went to America too, stationed in Eglin Air Force Base, I believe, right near Louisiana, where her new husband's family is from. And then we had a divorce, and then we moved back to Thailand, and I was about 5, starting kindergarten. And I remember going back to Thailand sad because we didn't bring my baby sister with us, as she had with that other dad. She instead stayed with her white grandparents and family and was raised by them. And I never saw her until I was 18, and I found her and flew her up to meet me, and I just had my first son. So these are the types of things that happen to children at this age that are being born now. Things will be ripped away from them, and they may not understand why, and they'll see their parents upset, like people losing their homes right now, the tornadoes, people being killed randomly on the street. All these things are affecting children, and we're really trying to help children have a better life than us in the future. And that's why a lot of us do not want war, do not want genocide, do not want these dictators to be ruling over our life, because we know how much it harmed our own families way, way, way back when. And I'm still dealing with some of those repercussions of it. I still have inner insecurities about men, because I didn't have a dad, and I had actually 3 stepdads, and none of them stuck around after they divorced my mom, because even if they adopted me, one of my dads adopted me, didn't matter. Once he divorced my mom, he divorced me too. So these are the traumas that some of these children will be going through. And I really pray for our world that we understand that what we're doing now is permanent and deadly. And hopefully we can all get it together and do the right thing. So thank you for being here. Happy Memorial Day. This podcast will probably be coming out a little late. It's a long weekend and I'm behind. I'm so busy these days, especially with Gemini season coming. I knew it was going to be busy, but wow, thank God I was prepared a little bit for it. And having a Gemini sun in my house and a Gemini moon in my house, I am used to this energy of quick talking a lot, talk about intellectual things, and this is what Geminis feed off of, is intellectual abilities to relate ideas and see things in different ways, and they like to talk to people. But Geminis get easily bored. This is my midhaven. I get easily bored. If you're not talking about anything that is important, I don't like to really just shoot the breeze. I like to talk about intellectual things I've learned. A lot of Geminis are journalists, and they write articles that are very profound. So this is what Gemini represents, and it's a new communication. So social media and the news, all these things will be changed with Pluto here meeting up with the Sun in Gemini and the Moon in Sagittarius. And again, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is right here getting ready to move into Gemini. And again, that's going to enhance this mutability of Gemini and of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign, and Gemini is a mutable air sign. So we're talking about no boundaries because Jupiter rules Pisces and Neptune's in Pisces. So we're talking about no boundaries. The world is open to us. The world is your oyster, literally, if you can handle all these things happening at the same time and understand that it's for your growth and not to fight change. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate you. Please subscribe and like and follow and all those good things. And I will be back next week when we are in June. And June, get ready. Woohoo! Okay, because now we got Jupiter in there and things are going to start to move. Then Mars is getting ready to move into Jupiter too. Ha! And Venus is already here. And then Mercury's going to shift in. Oh! My goodness. Mars is going to go into Taurus. And I said this is going to probably be pretty radical stuff. Okay? So hold on tight.
Okay. So enjoy the last week of May. Happy Memorial Day to all in the U.S. And really, really find time to meditate and to be mindful of what it is, the energy you're putting out into the world, because it will come back to you in some way. And a lot of times I think that's what Cancer is. Cancer is being negative and pushing negativity out towards other people. But in doing that, it just comes back to you in a boomerang and causes you energy, because it's your body's self attacking your body. So negativity, hate, all these things create chemicals that cause you cancer. And so really, cancer is really rapid right now. They can say they've figured out things and it's not as bad, but from what I can see, it's still quite bad. And now we have a lot of things to think about, okay? But the good part is Jupiter's in Gemini, so our communications are going to get better for the next year, which is going to be great. We really need better communication. We need positive communication. It's okay to be angry and express things, but we really want to bring it around to how can we change that? How can we make it better? Instead of causing trouble over the same issue over and over and over, right? And I get stuck in that rut. I'm not perfect. That's why I do a podcast, as you know. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you for being here and listening to me. I couldn't do this without your support. And really, reach out. I'd love to talk to you. And to those who have reached out, I appreciate you. And I can't wait to talk to you more. Okay, thank you.
God bless you. Send lots of love and kisses. Bye.